I just learn as I go, and I just take it like, patience.
Yeah.
Patience for me. I think there's two kinds of people. So, I coach the coaches a lot, and I always tell them there's usually two kinds of people that I'm coaching. And one is the jumpers, and they jump fast, they jump hard, and they jump at 400 things. And they're so discombobulated because there's everything, right? And then the second are the hesitant ones, the ones who are.
If you like frozen yogurt, paninis, adult floats, endless mimosas, 32 Below, Froyo, and more is for you. They're located in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and they got a little something for the whole family. On Saturdays and Sundays, they have endless mimosas. So make sure you go check them out, like them on social media, go to Yelp, give them a great review. They're an amazing business, community-minded, and doing some great things in our community. Welcome to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Croc, and every Monday, I talk to someone here in North Idaho with the goal to connect more people in the Coeur d'Alene area. And then every Friday, I talk to someone outside the community to bring in a new perspective and to learn a little bit about yourself. All right, good morning. I have Brittney with me today. And I've known Brittney for a while now, and I actually cannot remember. How did we actually meet?
I think it was through Children's Village stuff.
Yes,
I think.
exactly.
Or somewhere in that time period before all like business and networking and all that stuff.
Yeah, so that's exactly what it was. It was more like the network and business and things like that. And then found out this woman is doing some amazing things in the health industry and really focusing on what I think is great, all the gut health information and things that she does. And she has I have her resume here, but she has all kinds of stuff. And did you write a book? Is that what you just did recently?
A couple. So my first book, Buddha Belly, was published back in 2016, and we're republishing it now. So it's going to be cleaned up, and it's been updated. And so we're doing a republication of that. And then I had the second book came out in 2019, and it was hashtag my epic year. And that was more autobiographical and about like healing and post-divorce, trauma and things like that. And that one, that was kind of like my heart book. So yeah, that was the life coach in me, but that one was written in like real time, and it was that I don't take any money from that book. That one I put out there, and I donate anything proceeds of that. So I send that to people if they've gone through some hard stuff. I'm like, hey, here's like more words than I could ever give you personally. And if you don't need it, give it to somebody else. And yeah.
That's amazing. And yeah, and so then you also do coaching as well. And so you kind of got a little, I'm just going to let you chat. Tell me what you're up to right now, what you're doing, and what kind of projects you got going on, and just a little bit of background about you.
Yeah, so after I wrote Buddha Belly, it ended up turning into a gut health course because we realized that, gut health was the whole body is a holistic operation. It's mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. And if you don't have all of it in alignment, then we really we just only tailor to one area. We're not going to see full healing. We're not going to see full, live our best life. But the gut and the microbiome was just the center of everything. I mean, it's attached to our skin. It's attached to our mental health, which is my passion. It's attached to our metabolism and all these things. And so we just come so far in our way of life now, where we've gone away from this microbial community that's supposed to inhabit our bodies and do all these things for us and our immune system and our health. And so to focus on the gut in this holistic way was this incredible way to really help people grow. And there was a lot of those involved in wellness in general and coaching and who were naive to gut health. So they would, it's easy to promote healthy eating and not understand that there's a lot of foods and things that a lot of individuals can't. They can wreak more havoc than good, and cause more inflammation. And you're like, what? But this is a healthy whole food. Why is that? So when you can understand gut health, and that's the whole, microbiome, then you can see, more more improvement. And so from that, it turned into a course, and I was training people that were in the industry already. And then we had so many people that weren't involved yet as coaches, weren't trained, that wanted to get into it, that we turned into a full academy. So we have the 3 pieces: the gut health, and then the mindset work and all the subconscious stuff. And then a lot of business. What I do with the coaches mainly, because the material already exists, is I am coaching them through strategizing, through branding their businesses and getting things going, and how to persevere as a coach and get through their own mental roadblocks, because a lot of them are stepping into entrepreneurship or advancing into entrepreneurship for the first time. So, they get in their own way. And so that's what I mainly focus on. So yeah, so I'm writing, and I do speaking, and I do the things, but the school is probably the meat and potatoes of everything I do.
Wow, that's amazing. I love talking to people that I think I know what they're doing, and then I really get to know them, and I'm like, holy cow, you're doing some good things and really changing people's health mentally and physically, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So do you have
And
any?
it allows other people to do more than I could ever do by myself. So when I can work with the coaches, then like they can go out and they can help individuals, and I get more fulfillment that way, and it keeps me more grounded.
Yeah, exactly. And then so do you have any projects or books that you have in the future? I know you said you're going to republication your other book, but do you have some
Mhm.
projects you're working on?
So I always say, like, I don't write unless I feel like I need to. I never want to be paid to just be a writer. So I'll only write if I have something I'm passionate about. But the brain, and the brain gut connection and mental health, or even our brain cognition, and how it affects our success or lack thereof in our life and in our endeavors, is probably going to be the substance of my next book.
That
So I'm all over that right now.
Well, and it's so true. Like, I mean, I'm sure you could talk for hours and hours about how important that is, and how important, like, so if someone's listening and they're like, gut health, what does that mean? I know it's like deeper meaning, but like in a, I guess, overview of like gut healthy and the importance of it.
Yeah, so the quickest 411 for people to understand is that your gut, which is like your intestines and your stomach, and it's your whole digestive system ultimately. But it's best to envision it like a fish tank. You have fish in your fish tank, and then you have the tank structure itself. If the tank structure is busted up, you're going to have leakage in your fish tank, and ultimately the fish won't survive, and the whole thing will be useless. The same goes if you have poor health, fish that are in poor health, or you don't have enough of them, or you don't have enough diversity. When you make a fish tank, you have to put the right ones together. If you let too many of this fish, come, then you'll have overgrowth of bacteria, and all that stuff. That's how our gut works. So we have more microbes than we do human DNA. And these microbes they're different types of microbes, and they have different things that they need to do. Some are going to more directly affect your metabolism. Others are going to process nutrients from your vitamins and your foods and things. And others can be kind of have negative consequences for you if they overgrow, which a lot of people deal with that. We have bacteria that are necessary in small quantities, but if they get into a large quantity, then we have a big issue like candida and, sugar loving bacteria. And so to understand that system, that is gut health. So the structural integrity of the intestinal tract and the gut, when it is not up to par, then we have things leaking into the bloodstream, causing chronic inflammation. And inflammation is connected to almost every single form of disease that we have. Plus, also on top of that, so we have the structural integrity of our fish tank, and then we have the diversity of the species within the fish tank. And so that ultimately is gut health. And the cool thing about it is that the cool thing and the kind of scary thing is that it's connected to everything. So mental health, majority of our serotonin and our dopamine is actually manufactured by our gut bacteria in our gut. So we're trying to treat mental health and, lack of focus and so many cognitive issues with meds and therapy and these things without understanding also a massive physiological component. And so that understanding what all it's connected to, it's just so much more than just healthy food or digestive issues. A lot of people have gut issues that don't manifest in really obvious digestive problems. So when you know what those symptoms are, like skin health, mental health, anxiety, depression, poor immune system, being sick a lot, all those things are tied to gut.
Wow. So if someone's wanting to really, I guess, get into this and really learn because they are having maybe some immune issues or, mental issues or anxiety or whatever, and they're really wanting to help before they get into medications and all the therapies, and which is
Mhm.
all has its place. Is there like one piece of advice you would give someone like, hey, this is number one thing you really need to do?
Number one is to cut out sugar, I would say. And that is in anything that's processing is sugar really quick, and gluten. Like those are our two biggest things. But I would say probably before that is to educate, because everybody knows that. They know the two do's, like, right? Most people know sugar isn't good for them, even if they don't have a really deep scientific understanding of what all it does, like maybe some of us do. Um, and if it were that easy, we'd do it. It is such an addictive drug. What it does to the dopamine receptors is unreal. And that's why they compare it to things like heroin and all these drugs or cocaine, and because of how it reacts in the body. And so people are working, and your gut bacteria, if they're out of whack, they'll actually like crave sugar and keep you craving it. So the biggest thing I'd say is probably education. So go somewhere, start learning about it. I read a book about a lady once who was a smoker. She knew how bad smoking was for her. She was in a process of growing in all these levels, and smoking was still her vice that she was just struggling to kick. And so she made a point to start educating herself about it. She just keep reading book after article of everything smoking until she programmed her subconscious to start associating it so negatively that it helped her actually quit, instead of relying on this joke that is willpower, which most of us, don't. In this industry, we will throw that out. Willpower is a joke. So education is everything. If you can understand more of how your body works, then you can start the tips. Why maybe, okay, I'm going to do my best to get off sugar because of this and this and this, and this is what gluten could be doing to my body, and I'm going to listen to it, and this is what it could sound like. Without the education, then it's just another strict rule that feels painful.
Wow, that's such. I think it's something we probably need to listen to on any kind of thing that you're, whether it's education, whatever it is. Education is number one, to really know whether you're building, like we were just talking about,
Yes.
building out a van. You want to feel confident, so you educate, 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 and then you can do the thing, or
Mm-hmm.
getting your gut, or whatever it is, quitting smoking. That you just educate yourself so much. I think that's so important.
Mm-hmm.
So, questions, some fun questions for you. Your nutrition, health, gut guru. Um, what is somewhere that you would go to in Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, North Idaho, to go to eating place? Where is your go-to restaurant?
So I do love supporting small business. And I love coffee. And so, there's a few coffee places I love. I love, CDA Coffee Company, and I love Union and all that. As far as food goes, it's not technically a local small business, but it is a locally owned chain. And I am obsessed with Pokeworks anymore. I don't eat out too much. I try not to, but we do go. My partner, like, was way more used to just eating on the go all the time, and I always cook, but sometimes our life is so crazy, and that is my go-to. Like, I'm a freak about, the ahi that they have there, and the raw fish, which and you can do it over veggies, so you don't even have to do all the rice, and like, it is just the yummiest food for me. I could eat that probably almost every single day.
Yeah, it is. I tried it for the first time, and it was so good. I had like
What'd
seaweed,
you eat?
all the good stuff. I had the ahi. It was so good.
Did you get the spicy one?
Yes.
Yes, that's the best. That's like my favorite. Like, I ate the same thing over cabbage, sauce on the side every single time, add avocado. They like know my order now. So
But you walk in and they start making it right away.
yeah, I'm not quite on that VIP level yet, but maybe someday.
So you're out there inspiring people with the words, with your book, with your academy, and the way you're coaching and teaching. Is there something or like someone out there that really inspires you to be your best self?
I would say ultimately, like, this has actually been a topic of conversation lately a lot, with some people close to me. But I would say, firstly, like, I take a little bit from everybody everywhere I go. Just, I like to be a sponge, and I am a leader a lot. And so I don't always want to lead. I don't always want to be a leader. It just kind of just happens. And sometimes though, but everyone can teach you something, even people sometimes you're leading. And I like sometimes being able to just be quiet and like, uh, absorb something that someone else is saying. So I'm always learning from everyone. As far as like my top most favorite human in the entire world that I didn't birth. Tony Robbins is the man. And for me, he is just like, I was able to go to Business Mastery a few years ago and in Florida, and I was so close to him. And when we left a week there, I mean, we pulled 15, 16-hour days, 5 days in a row. It was insane. And he's on the floor the most during that seminar than like most of them that he does, because it's more intimate and it's all in business. And when we left there, I literally like missed him, like family. Like he was already so cool to me, but I still was like, I felt like I knew him personally now, and I like missed him. Like, when's the next time I get to see him? And I would invest that money again, and I will go again one of these days when my babies aren't so little.
That is so amazing, because I actually am working on a project with a documentary team and doing some PR stuff. And one of the film guys, editors, he's actually on Tony's team.
Really?
And videos all of his conferences and does all of that stuff. And he has nothing but nice things to say about him. And he's the behind the scenes kind of guy. So
Yeah.
it's cool to hear that he's kind of like actually a really good person all the way around.
And he's in Coeur d'Alene so much now because he's got a place out there. So I'm always like, one of these days, I went to Business Mastery. That was a bucket list checker offer. But now I'm like, need like an invite to his house, or I'll even settle for running into him at like a dinner place and not like buying or something, and telling him what an incredible human he's been and influencing me.
Oh, that's really, really cool. Obviously you're doing business your way. You probably have done, like you said, you go to trainings or you hire marketing companies or you do whatever. Is there something like a life lesson or something you've learned along the way that you kind of learned the hard way?
Oh yes, many. Intelligent investing. Because I'm an investor all around. Like, I'm the person that I love doing business, and I'll reinvest in my business. Well, someone else takes a chunk of money and they're out shopping or buying a fancy whatever. I'm like, okay, I put so much back into my business and all that. And I have done that in ways I've had to learn the hard way, that there's so many people out there that claim that they can do certain tasks for you. And we start out very grassroots, usually wearing all the hats, doing all the things ourselves. And while you can't do that forever because it's not sustainable, it's not growth oriented, in the beginning, it's a great way to learn the tasks about your business so you can vet the people that say they can do them for you. And so I've had to learn that the hard way, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars the hard way. But I learned it, and who's to say where I'd be now and what I'd be able to do, and the smart investment choices I'd have made after some of these experiences had I not made those mistakes in the first place.
So true. I think failure is such a positive thing, and we all see it as failing, but it's not. You actually learn so much about yourself or your business or what not to do. And then teaching someone else, hey, don't do that. I've already done it the hard way. I'm going to help you out. Skip that step.
And you never want to lose money. I mean, people are like, oh my gosh, anything that loses money is, but I always remind myself, like they say, millionaires have had to lose thousands to be millionaires. Billionaires have lost millions to be billionaires. At the conference, at Business Mastery, Tony said, he's lost almost everything he's made, millions and millions and millions, multiple times over. But it's a game at that point. That you can do it. And when you do it the next time, you'll usually rise higher. And not that everything's about money, but that is our measurement system when we are getting paid for a service or creation, so it's all in how you see it.
I love that. So I'm excited to hear this answer, but if you had a billboard and you could put anything on your billboard, what would your billboard either have or say on it?
I do know the answer to this question, and it's mildly inappropriate, so I'm going to I'll definitely censor it. No, I think it would be drink blank water. I always say, if I could get a shirt that just told people to drink water, my family, if you say, what does mom say to you more than anything? How much water have you had today? Like, mom, my head hurts. I'm really tired. It is amazing how many people are chronically dehydrated and popping pills or getting grumpy or snapping at loved ones or can't think at work. All these things that jack up our life because they simply are not hydrating a body that's made of mostly water. Like, if I had a billboard, that's what it would say.
And I love the blank. You kept it really PC there. Like,
totally. Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't say it out loud. I got church friends. I'm not, but I think it would say that.
I love that. And it's so true. It's so funny because I was just feeling that the other day. I was like, gosh, why am I grumpy? I was having headaches, and I was like, oh, and then for like the rest of the day, I guzzled water, and the next morning woke up and I was like, man, I feel pretty good this morning.
Totally. Isn't that so funny?
Weird. Besides like changing people's lives and helping their gut and helping them, and whether it's mentally, physically, whatever it is, what are your outside hobbies besides your job?
That's a good question. We're working on some of those because my hobby is like always creating. So work, my work is my passion too. So I'm always, when I get free time, I feel like I'm always doing that. The gym is just, it's maintenance, but my hobbies end up being these things that are a staple part of my lives anyway. So this is my year where I've tried to push past that, and having so many children and having an infant, is hard to have time at all. But I'm starting to kind of try and find some hobbies. So like, I love music, we do that more at the house. We have like a full musical setup, and my partner, he plays guitar, and our kids will like sing. We do full karaoke. It's fun. But I'm looking into actually I'm going to try open water rowing this year.
Cool.
And I'll see if I like it. So I'm going to try it and see what I think, and I might try some cycling, like outdoor cycling. But I feel like if it's going to be a hobby, it should be definitely moving my body and doing something, pushing myself to do something that's not as common for me, but that sounds really rad, especially something in nature. So I will get back to you on how well that sticks.
I love that. So is there something, with your career, is there something that you wish you would have known before starting, whether it's book writing, whether it's coaching, whatever it is there something you kind of wish you would have known before jumping into your business?
I just learn as I go, and I just take it like patience. Patience for me. I think there's two kinds of people. So, I coach the coaches a lot, and I always tell them there's usually two kinds of people that I'm coaching. And one is the jumpers, and they jump fast, they jump hard, and they jump at 400 things. And they're so discombobulated because there's everything, right? And then the second are the hesitant ones, the ones who are more self-conscious and worried and detail-oriented and perfection-oriented and stuff like that. Now, there's pros and cons to both type of people. You have to learn to just embody more of those opposite traits when you can. I'm the jumper. Like, I'm the doer. I thank God I get to work with coaches and help them like develop their own unique niches in their businesses, because it keeps that creativity in me going all the time with staying focused in one business and not having 800 businesses. So that's like what I wish I would have known, because there's areas that it would have behooved me to know sooner, is that there's areas where attention to detail, the people that are more afraid to move, pay better attention to detail. They make the product really complete. I just get it out there. Someone else is going to come fix it for me later. And there's merit to that too. But I've learned now. So what is helpful to me is to utilize other people where I know I'm weak and maybe I don't want to have time. Maybe it works for me to be the mover. Bring in the detail-oriented people. Start teaming up or paying or investing in those people who can counterbalance the way that I am.
That's awesome. That's so true, because that's how I am. I'm very like, let's just do it now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to like sit and wait for the next person. I'm like, no, let's go. And then I need to be around people that are like, let's really think about this. I'm like, oh, right. I need to step back before it's just like,
Yep.
Totally. I'm the same as you. So do you have I mean, you really, like you said, you were talking about drinking water, anything you're passionate about, you're like, this is, you're very passionate. So you vocalize it. Do you have like a personal mission statement you would say, if someone asks, what's your personal mission? Who are you? Do you have, I guess they say personal.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So mine, I get links to purpose, and I am most definitely an empowerer of people. Like, I want to empower people. I don't get gratification. It actually makes me really uncomfortable if people come up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, you wrote a book and you did this, or people haven't seen me for years or whatever. Whoa, you've done a lot of things. And I feel like they feel inferior to anything in that moment. Oh, I hate that, because that's the opposite of what I love. What I love is when I see people that are like, hey, thanks for this, or I read this thing that you sent me or you wrote, and I decided to do this, and like now I'm kicking butt and I'm living my best life, and like I am strong now. Like, you can teach, you can give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man a fish, he eats for a lifetime. And sometimes we need to feed people, sometimes they need a full tummy so that they can learn, right? But if you're just the fish giver, who wants just all the praise for being the fish giver? I mean, that's lame to me. You want to teach them to fish, and then they go and they fish good. And so empowering people, because I've suffered plenty in my life, and I'm not a victim or anything. I think it was the best things that have ever happened to me. But I realized that I could have a happy life. I could create a life and a world and achieve things and change things and be okay. And I tapped into a power that meant I didn't always have to feel these things. And when you do that, when you tap into something that really moves you, you just naturally want to give it to other people. So empowering people, that we were all given a purpose, and no one's is better or less than anyone else is. So
I love that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So if someone's listening and you just spoke to them and they're like, oh, okay, I need to reach out to this girl. I need to fix my gut, or I need to see what she's talking about, or I just want to like buy her book or just meet her. Is there some way that they can connect with you? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so right now the best way, either, is probably through the website, hwcacoach.com or guthealthschool.com will take you there. That's how you can connect with me. And we have most of our professional courses up there, the certification courses, but you can message and you can email and it gets back to me. And we do have personal courses too. So based on the book Buddha Belly, which is also available on Amazon, but if they want to get into the personal courses and do the Buddha Belly personal program for their own wellness, personal wellness, not certification, then that's just a great place right now. Pretty soon, I'll have a separate kind of link into that website. They're building it right now. That'll have more of the me stuff, more about this coach stuff that I do in those personal links. But right now, just this school is the best way to do that. Or you can find me on Instagram at Buddha Belly Coach. I don't do very much with Facebook anymore, but you can, on Instagram, you can see the link to the school on the Instagram school page as well too. So
perfect. So we're in the middle of a pandemic. Well, hopefully we're getting to the end of it because I'm over it. Elections, it's just been crazy. People are struggling physically, financially, emotionally, is there a piece of advice you can leave all of listeners with, like a positive piece of advice to go into their day?
I think it comes back to the empowerment thing, that ultimately we control our life. And we will never be able to control the external factors to our life. We can't wait for the pandemic to lift. We can't wait for the schools to open or masks to not be mandated. Just like we can't expect that we're not going to have a loved one pass away, or we're not going to get an illness or a disease. We can only do the best with what we have, and we can choose to determine our own life and our own environment in the midst of anything. We can find resiliency and build better and build more. If we're stuck in houses with our partner, well, guess what? Maybe it's a great time to grow together and dig into all the hard part. And like, let me tell you, my partner and I we co-parent 6 children between the two of us, and one's an infant. And we combined our family a few days actually before they locked us down. And it's a roller coaster ride, right? But if you accept the process and you're committed to growth, and that's a way of taking your own control over your life. And ultimately, you do have control over your life no matter what anybody says around you.
Well, perfect. Brittney, thank you so much. This was awesome. Keep inspiring people, keep helping people be healthy.
Thanks, girl. It was good to jump on today.
Thanks for listening to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Crock, and every Monday I release a podcast about different community members here in North Idaho. And then we end the weeks on Fridays with a podcast about the things I'm passionate about: outdoors, adventures, sports, the van life, and even current events. So if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes. Thank you again. Now go be kind and do something great.